Yo, are you a skinny guy who works in tech? Are you looking to get jacked? Let me tell you, not only is it very possible, it's also very easy. I once worked a very similar job. I was in that environment and I was able to go from skinny to jacked. I'm gonna give you the exact setup that I had so that you can make this transformation yourself. I know a lot of guys working in this field think that it's too difficult, that they're not gonna have the time, they're working stressful jobs. Let me tell you though, you are set up in the most optimal way possible. If you're just working tech and you have a couple hours to spare every week, you have the opportunity to make the transformation of a lifetime. Even if you have no time, even if you don't know what to eat, and even if you've never started before, especially if you've never started before, you have so much opportunity right now, so much potential. Today, I'm gonna cover 3 of the biggest points that I noticed for you guys specifically. Be sure to stick around until the last one because you're gonna need it. Even for people who are already hitting the gym, they miss out on that point. But anyways, let's get started. So point number 1, a lot of us think that we don't have time to get things done. The reality is we have a lot of time, but our mentality towards that time is always spent thinking about doing things instead of actually doing the thing. It's like you ever have some time, whether it be a month, whether it be a week, whether it be a few hours, but you always think about, okay, how much stuff can I get done in this amount of time? And there's like, okay, you can definitely get thing 1, thing 2, and thing 3 done within this period of time. But then once that time passes, you literally didn't do anything. Now you might think that's procrastination or laziness, but I know it to be different. The reason why nothing got done is because you didn't have structure, you didn't have a direction to go in. So you had to spend all your time thinking about it and then you didn't spend any time doing it. And so what you need in order to actually see success in the gym is you just need to set a structure. You need to set a schedule where you are finding a way around work to make it to the gym 4 times a week. As young men, you are capable of so much more than you actually realize. Just that most guys don't have structure. They don't have a direction to go in. And I know specifically for tech guys, and I was there too, we often overanalyze things. We spend a lot of time thinking instead of doing. And it was only when things got forced on me, when I realized how little time I had, because I had so many chores stacking up. I had work coming up. I had to go to the office, all this random BS that started coming up. And that's when I was like, okay, now I literally have only one option, which is wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the gym. And so only when I was forced into that spot is when I actually took action and stopped delaying. So you gotta realize, even when it was easier to go to the gym, I didn't go. And I believe most of us are in that category where it's like, we're not forced to go. We don't have a schedule of when we're going. And so what ends up happening is we think we're gonna go, we're thinking about going, we're gonna go in a few hours, we're gonna go in a few minutes, we're gonna go tomorrow, but then tomorrow comes and now you're thinking about what to eat, you're thinking about what to wear, you're thinking about what to drink, and you get caught in this analysis paralysis. So the biggest thing with tech guys is you just need to set a strict routine and follow that routine no matter what. Even if you're feeling a bit hungry, you still just go to the gym at that time. Even if your girlfriend's texting you, you still go to the gym at that time. Even if you have to take a shit, you still go to the gym at that time. You have to make it to the gym at that time no matter what. That's the kind of structure that you need in order to see the success. Otherwise, you're just going to spend time thinking about it. You're going to spend time thinking about something else. There's always going to be one more thing to think about. There's always going to be one more obstacle that's coming up in the way, just because that's the way our minds are programmed. We're always thinking, we're always solving the next puzzle. We're not actually doing. You don't have to find like a pattern to everything. There's not an algorithm to making gains. It's just showing up and then realizing the results. So you got to do that. For me personally, I'm always looking for patterns. I'm always looking for random algorithms, trying to find stuff in life like, okay, if this happens, then this happens, then this. Not everything's an if flowchart, if then flowchart. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta turn your brain off and show up. All right, the next thing is that a lot of us are very good at applying ourselves 100% mentally. You ever have that feeling where you're really stuck on this piece of code? So you have to figure out, you have to use, all your critical thinking, you have to use all your problem solving skills, you have to use all your logical thinking, all your experience, all your knowledge. Every bit of you have to put towards like, you fail. And then eventually you figure it out and it's like, yes, we got the code to run, we solved the problem and we succeeded. So the same way we applied ourselves 100%, we made sure that we finally got the mission accomplished, is the same effort that you need to see in the gym. If you were to try and solve a code with 80% of you or 90% of you, you wouldn't solve the code, right? You have to apply 100% of yourself in order to finish the mission. It's the same thing with the gym. A lot of people will show up and they'll go to the gym and they'll actually do the exercise, they'll have good form, they'll push themselves to a point of discomfort. But the issue is most of the gains, in fact, for the gym, almost all of the gains lies in that last 20% of effort, last 10% of effort. And so you need to really apply yourself and push yourself as hard as you can to actually realize the gains. Even if that means, doing a drop set, even if that means doing fractional reps, even if that means switching to a different variation. Sometimes you gotta pull out all the stops, the same way you pulled out all the stops to solve the piece of code. You gotta pull out all the stops to actually achieve real muscular failure and push yourself 100% of the way. If you leave the gym and you felt like you only push yourself 95% as hard as you could have every single time, you're not gonna see anywhere near the results as if you left the gym and you push yourself 99 or 100% as hard as you could have every single time. It's a massive difference. It's what separates people who get jacked and people who don't. It's just the simple truths. All right, the last point, and this is one that actually stops a lot of us who I actually know go to the gym from actually making real gains. So this stops people who are new from making gains. It stops people who are already going to the gym from making gains. And that's committing to the bulk. Now, I don't know if the reasoning for behind most of us not committing to the bulk is because of the fact that we're scared of putting on fat, or it's because of the fact that we truly logically believe that committing to a bulk is not the fastest way to getting our dream physique. Because obviously if we bulk, then we're thinking, okay, we have to cut back down after. For me personally, I was also in the same boat, but it was because I cared about athletics at that time. So I didn't want to, get fat and then not be able to run for soccer. Let me tell you though, while it makes sense that you don't want to put on fat, or you feel like bulking up, takes you away from the path. Let's say this is you and this is your dream physique. Bulking up is you go up first and then you have to cut down. That's typically the process, right? So it might feel like bulking up is taking you away from a straight line to your dream physique. But the reality is though, that if you're not bulking up, if you don't commit to a bulk, you're never gonna actually make real gains. You might get like 1 to 2 pounds of muscle a year, or something very small and nominal, especially after you finish your noob gains. But the truth is that people who don't commit to the bulk are the people who you see in the gym year after year, and they look the exact same. They never made any changes. And the people who do commit to the bulk are the people who show up and in 6 months they look like their own older brother. They look completely unrecognizable. They look jacked. They look big, beast, whatever adjective you want to use for that. And it's because they committed. You got to realize that committing to the bulk is actually the fastest, most logical way to achieving your dream physique. Even though it seems like you're going on a tangent, you're going out of your way because now you have to cut after. But the truth is though, that you need to bulk in order to see significant gains and actually put on muscle mass of any substantive quantity. quantity. The thing that people are worried about is, oh, okay, we're gonna get fat. Trust me when I say, if you train properly, train the way I tell you to, you're not gonna get fat. You might, obviously, yes, you might put on a little bit of fat tissue onto your body, but the amount of muscle mass vastly overpowers the small amount of fat that you put on. No one ever called me fat ever once when I was bulking. When I was peaking my bulk, 205 pounds, I was never considered fat. All of the negatives that you're thinking, you're annotating with the bulk. Oh, I don't want to be beefy. Oh, I don't want to put on fat. Oh, it's too much work. Oh, it's too much commitment. They're all so minimal, and they're all just excuses to stop you from committing and making a significant change. Trust me when I say, there's always going to be resistance internally when you're trying to make a change to your body. But if you can just get over that mentally, you can make the serious change. Like me, I was skinny fat and I still saw massive muscle gains while barely putting on any fat. I truly believe that people who don't commit to the bulk actually put on more fat than people who do. But that's not something that I can prove right now. That's outside the scope of this video. So we'll leave that out for now. But you need to commit to the bulk if you want to make serious muscle changes. And I think that's a big thing that people in this industry just don't want to do. And it's just one thing that I have to try and get through to people. But anyways, guys, to wrap this video up though, if you're a skinny guy working in tech, I know the common injection, you feel like you don't have time. You feel like, you don't know where to start. You don't know what to eat. You don't want to commit to the bulk. Sitting at home, being skinny, making a million excuses. You're meant to do something more meaningful, more purposeful, and better for your health. It's time to stop overthinking. It's time to stop making excuses. Just turn off your brain, show up, and start building that muscle that you always wanted to. If you're new or if you've already been lifting and you're looking for some quick and easy tips, I have a free checklist in the description below. It's got some of my best pointers on how to gain your next 15 pounds of muscle. If that sounds like of interest to you, please feel free to go and check that out. Subscribe to stick around for more content just like this. My channel is all about helping skinny guys make the transformation, build muscle, and get jacked. But with that being said, like the video if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.